What's going on, everyone? My name's Tim Williams. It is Monday, July 26th. We have a nice 7-game MLB slate to break down over on DraftKings. If you're new to the channel, what's up? You love baseball? You love DFS? You are in the right spot here. We're going to go through one by one, break down each and every one of these games, over-unders, spreads, pitchers, hitters, salaries, all that good stuff. If that sounds good to you, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have a link right below in the description, and let's get started here. 7 games. Game number 1 here, Nationals taking on the Phillies. Phillies favorited here at home, 9.5 over under here. You got Joey Ross taking on Spence Howard. Ross 7.9K. I don't mind that price here. The Phillies do strike out quite a bit. Ross coming off the IR. That's the one thing that kind of worries me a little bit here, but 25% strikeout rate here. That's pretty good for a guy who's under 8K. 8% walk rate here. Gives up a decent amount of hard contact, 41% of the time. 185 ISO, 388 WOBA, weighted on base average against 2 lefties here. So if I'm taking anybody really on the Phillies, I don't mind the lefties here, but we'll get to the bats. And then on the Philly side, Howard 6.4K, right? He's a big strikeout guy in the minors, 25.3% strikeout rate there. Walks a lot of guys, 14.9%. That's actually really, really high here, especially going against a Nationals team who just doesn't strike out a ton. They don't walk a ton either, but they like to put the ball in play. Howard, 42% fly ball rate here, but 30% hard contact rate. So kind of interesting. It is a small sample size, so I expect something to give there. And if I had to guess, I would imagine that hard contact rate goes up the more and more he faces competition. But some of the bats in play here, Nationals, Soto at 6'3", 207 ISO against right-handed pitching this season. The price is kind of high on some of these big national stars here. Turner 6'1", same kind of thing. Bell 4'2". You know, there's always ways to stack the Nats, and maybe I don't mind getting to them as like a little 3-man stack. The over-under is pretty high in this one. And then on the other side, you know, like we talked about, really love the lefties here for the Phillies. They just don't have a ton of them. Harper, the clear number 1 for the Phillies today, 5.9K. Gregorius, another lefty at 4.1. I don't mind that. Hoskins, 4.9K. I think he's in the player pool, right? 232 ISO against righties this season, which is great. He has a ton of power. The one thing I'm concerned about is, you know, the 27.5 strikeout rate percentage against righties as well, but really in the mix here. So nice little options on both sides, but there's some clear other favorite stacks a little bit later in the slides. Next game here, Blue Jays, Red Sox, 10.5 over under. No clear favorite here. Hatch taking on Pivetta. Hatch 5.2K, making his start here debut, 8.3K per 9. So he's striking out just about a guy per inning, just a little bit under in the minors here. 3.4% walk rate in the minor leagues. So not exactly thrilled about that going against the Red Sox here. His salary is super cheap. That allows you to pay up for other bats, but just really tough matchup. Pivetta 8.7K here, 26.7% strikeout rate, which is pretty decent, but you know, he gives up a ton of walks, 10% walk rate here, 43% fly ball rate, gives up a ton of contact, hard contact. 208 ISO, 331 WOBA against right-handed batters. Oh, guess what? He has to face the Blue Jays, who just have some of the best right-handed batters in baseball. So Guerrero, I love at the top at 6K, 385 ISO versus righties. Springer 4.8K, nice 3.29 ISO. Semien 5.3, Bichette 5.2. All of these guys have huge power upside against right-handed pitching this season. Hernandez as well at 4.6, but really that fifth guy could just be anybody. Could be Biggio, could be Grishik. All of these guys have upside. Really do love the Blue Jays here. And then on the other side with the Red Sox, Devers, my number 1 bat for the Red Sox at 5.7K. Martinez 5.2, Bogarts 5.4, kind of pricey. I think I'd rather get to the Blue Jays, but you know, Red Sox at home. Some of these big bats kind of struggling a little bit in the last few days, but that really shouldn't matter. Hernandez, 4.1K, nice leadoff bat with power upside. Duran's been looking pretty good at 3K. There's just ways to stack the Red Sox, right? You have Renfroe, you have Verdugo, who's 3.5K. So I like both sides here. I think both are going to be very popular. If I had to pick one right now at whatever it is, 10, 30, 11 in the morning, I think I lean more Blue Jays here, and they're a little bit more flexible as far as pricing goes, perhaps, but love both. Next, we have the Reds taking on the Cubs, 8 over under here. Cubs favorited. Miley taking on Hendricks. Wade Miley, 8.6K. I do think he's in the player pool here. Just about a 20% strikeout rate. He's looked pretty good this season. 53% ground ball rate, 23% fly ball rate, right? I don't like to attack pitchers that have a very high ground ball rate, especially this late into the season where it's kind of been proven for the duration. And then on the other side, Hendricks 9.7K. That's just a little bit too pricey for me. I'd rather get to Miley. Hendricks 16, 17% strikeout rate here. So that kind of limits the upside a little bit. Very good control. He's a guy that locates, hits his spots. His one flaw here, 224 ISO against left-handed batters, I should say. So yeah, he gives up a ton of power there, but overall pretty solid pitcher. If I'm going bats here, it's going to be on the Reds side here. So Votto at 4-1, my favorite Reds bat. He is on fire right now. He is heating up. 284 ISO against righties this season. He's just been mashing at double-digit points in the last like 4 out of 5 games or something like that. So Winker 4.6, I like him as well. 301 ISO against righties. Naquin 2.7. I think that's a fine punt play. He's that for that price. He has upside, right? And then Suarez 3.8K. You're just kind of hoping for a home run here. He does have that power upside. And then on the other side, I kind of just really more interested in Bryant because of the price. 4.9K I think is pretty nice. The Cubs kind of set up really well in this matchup. I prefer Miley here with the all the ground balls, and he has an okay K rate. So like Miley, like the Reds bats a ton. Next, we have the White Sox and the Royals, 9.5 over under. The White Sox are favorited in this one. Keuchel taking on Minor. You got a couple lefties here. Keuchel 7.5K. He kind of lacks that ceiling. 14% strikeout rate here, 57% ground ball rate. Really good job limiting fly balls as well. 22% does give up a lot of hard contact, but that being said, really, don't want to attack those ground ball pitchers at this point. Minor on the other side, 8.3K, 23% strikeout rate here. That's not bad for the price. 41% fly ball rate, 40% hard contact. I think you can go either way here, right? Minor might be kind of popular. White Sox played late last night. White Sox 4th in batting average against left-handed pitching. So that being said, I don't have a lot of interest in Minor. I'd rather just get to Miley in this range. White Sox bats, I definitely really want to get to, even just maybe like a 3-man stack. So Abreu at 5.3, 342 ISO against lefties. Vaughn, 2.6K, one of the best values on the slate, in my opinion, 286 ISO against lefties. Engel, I think he has upside at 3.3, really nice price there. Moncada and Anderson, I think they're in play if you're going to kind of like do full stacks, but I don't particularly love their price to their upside. But definitely in the mix for sure. And then on the other side with the Royals, like I said, I don't really want to attack these ground ball pitchers too much, but I really do like Perez at 5.2, 362 ISO against left-handed pitching this season. So kind of paying up for catcher, but that's the one bat I'm really looking at there for the Royals. Next, we have the Tigers and the Twins, 10 over under here. The Twins are favorited. Manning taking on Pineda. Manning 5.8K. Cheap, one of the cheaper pitchers on this slate, right? I think it's a tougher matchup for him. The upside's kind of limited. Kind of nice to see him go 60 to 80 pitches, right? Like he's kind of building it up a little bit. Went 5 innings, then 6 innings the last 2 outings, which is very encouraging, but he really lacks the strikeout upside. 9.7% strikeout rate in that small sample size. I kind of not, I wouldn't mind using him at this price, just maybe not so against the Twins. Pineda on the other side, 6.9K. The price is really down on him. 21% strikeout rate. which isn't great, but for the price, I think that's pretty good point per dollar wise. 43% hard contact given up, looked pretty decent the last time out. However, giving up 250 ISO to left-handed batters this season. So that leaves me with my favorite Tigers bat, Badu at 3.2K, 277 ISO against righties this season. Grossman, I think he's in the mix at 3-1, too cheap for what he can do. Scope for power at 4.7. I think Tigers somewhat in play. They're playing really good baseball, and there's a lot of good value. If you're paying up for pitcher and you're paying up for a stack, I don't mind getting to some of these 7, 8, 9, whoever hitters for the Tigers because of the cheap price point and the decent matchup. On the other side, the Twins, they're up there as far as one of my favorite stacks on the slate for sure. Point per dollar wise and upside wise against Manning, against the Tigers bullpen, who it really isn't that great. Kepler at 3.7, really cheap. Polanco, Donaldson, Sano, I think the upside there is pretty nice, kind of similar to Suarez for the Reds. You're just hoping for a home run there, but really looks decent going against Manning, who doesn't strike out a ton of guys, while Sano does strike out a ton. So really matches up well. Rooker at 3.2, his power's been shown the last few days. So really like to get to some Twins bats today for sure. Next game we have to talk about here is the Rockies and the Angels. 7.5 over under. Angels are favorited here. Marquez taking on Ohtani. Really love this pitching matchup here. Vegas seems to agree too. It's a lower over under total. Marquez 8.4. Love the price there. 25% strikeout rate, 9% walk rate, 52% ground ball rate. Really, it does a good job limiting the fly balls as well. And then Ohtani on the other side, 9.2K. I think the price is fine. It's going up a little bit, but he does have that huge strikeout ceiling, 32% strikeout rate there, 12% walk rate, 47% ground ball rate, really good at limiting right-handed batting power. Rockies really struggle on the road. If you're just trying to get contrarian and pick a bat for the Rockies, I would probably go with some of these lefties, and mainly probably Blackmon, just because he's been there, done that. But I just don't like the Rockies here at all. Besides Marquez, I really like the pitching. And then on the Angel side, it's a similar thing. It's going against a ground ball pitcher here who has a decent K rate. So really focus it on the starting pitching for this matchup. And then next game we have here. What's it going to be? The Astros and the Mariners. Final game here, 7 games in here. So 8.5 over under. Astros favorited on the road. Garcia taking on McCoggin. Garcia 10.4K. Really love the matchup here. 29% strikeout rate, 8% walk rate here. Does give up a lot of fly balls 44% of the time. Just a really good strikeout matchup for him. Seattle 6 overall in strikeouts this season. And then McCoggin on the other side, 4.8K. It is cheap, but he has really got a tough matchup here. He really relies on trying to get weak contact to get outs. 18.9% strikeout rate in the minors, which isn't really great. I don't think that's going to translate well against the Astros. So really love the Astros here. Maybe a lot of the ownership is focused on the Blue Jays and the Red Sox, and a nice alternative is to get to the Astros. Alvarez 5.4K. He's the kind of highest price guy for the Astros, 301 ISO against righties. Tucker, my favorite value here, similar to Vaughn on the White Sox, 3.4K, really, really too cheap. So kind of just a no-brainer there, 255 ISO against righties. Altuve at 5K is always nice. That's a decent price for him. Brantley at 3.1 for stacking. He's going to be hitting in that 2-hole. Correa at 4.5, that's just too cheap for the upside. Diaz is back off the IR today. He'll probably slot in that third base in the lineup today. So 2.1K is pretty nice for him because he does have power upside. Prefer him against lefties, but we're going to see some bullpen dudes for sure. And then on the Mariners side, the only one bat just to try to get a little bit contrarian would be Seager at 4.2K. Garcia struggles a little bit more against lefties here. So I like Seager, but Seager also strikes out quite a bit. So really just focused on the Astros on this one. So that'll do it. My name is Tim Williams. I hope this video helped you. I wish you the best of luck today. I wish you would like this video. I wish you would take down a contest for me today. Don't take the ones that I'm in though. Pretty please. Best of luck. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. Peace out.